deceive, and hide. Jewish mob stalking culture. This video profiles the surveillance proficiencies of Jews and their nation of Israel as Shin Bet Mossad and their Sayanim, helpers, who profiled, mob-stalked, and ruined my personal and professional life, have declared themselves deceivers in hiding. Jewish mob stalking works like this. Jews pass your photo and details around by mobile phone and conspicuously stalk you wherever you go. Once you start discussing it or taking their photos, they complain to authorities that you're insane and obsessed with Jews, a Nazi, white supremacist, or potential terrorist, and that you must be watched very closely, and that Jews will help. Helping means setting you up for ruination, which benefits the police state, which protects Israeli interests, and that's usually a white supremacist rally, violent outburst, or terror event, where the mob-stalking victim is absorbed into the Jewish profiling. This culturally Jewish method of profiling and stalking someone to ruin would have existed before technology made it easy, perhaps explaining why Jews have been exiled from so many lands. For instance, if I couldn't walk from A to B without Jews following me by mobile phone or biometric surveillance, or work at KPMG Canada without them covertly interfering with me through the RCMP, or go to the Landlord and Tenant Board without Jews lurking there as photo bait to discredit me, the power of Jews over my host nation of Canada is irrefutable. It was thousands of Jews distributing my personal information amongst themselves to ruin my life, years before OpCatalyst even existed, when I had neither stalked nor ruined any of these predators. So CSIS, the RCMP, the Toronto Police Service, and the Nation of Israel, embedded within Canada, expanded my targeting to develop a GPS terrain surveillance and queuing system. This involves portable biometric gear in backpacks, duffel bags, and luggage totes, which redundantly biometrically position you amongst plainclothes police, spies, and their assets and targets, fed to and through satellite GPS. It's designed to move the target into a scripted surveillance sequence where anything can happen to them, like a mock collision to take them out, while appearing accidental with all immediate witnesses in on the black operation. If the target has been conditioned to EEG remote influencing, as I was, they can be led along a pre-scripted surveillance path like a marionette, directed, misdirected, and delayed, as needed, using GPS-positioned cues and resists. The queuing system covertly developed around me uses any object or mark on the terrain, other people in the biometric field, or even GPS-located aircraft in the sky. Since I'm so aware of exactly how this system works, the Israeli RCMP CSIS biometric targeting method was certainly specifically designed for and around me as a targeted individual for no less than a decade. The benefits to shadow governments are endless. Spy operations, police stings, drug dealing, money laundering drops, and black operation terror events where an asset or target are surrounded by nothing but layers of backup in a pre-scripted crowd simulation. It will eventually lead to a society covertly queued up with attractions to products and advertising within a biometrically monitored population to accelerate consumerism and spending. What gave away the core of this mob-stalking method as culturally Jewish was that Israelis always position themselves in the lead to appear as a victim, with their terrain cues consistently ordinary, per Mossad and Shin Bet's mottos of deception and concealment as a strategy. The culturally Jewish methods of deception and concealment are mafia tactics, as evidenced by the similarity in criminal activities between the American Jewish Mafia and the Israeli Mafia, the embedded Nation of Israel, and Israel proper. Per the motto, the Mafia does not exist, the operational mandate of everything from Jewish mob stalking to covert black operations is, the Jews didn't do it. Domestic terror black operations send government officials, police, intelligence, and the military to Israel for counter-terrorism training. There, they can be covertly EEG fingerprinted and their unique biometric signatures cultivated by Israeli intelligence. beyond detecting the international locations of plainclothed intelligence and police for Israeli Jewish operations using GPS queuing systems, important decision-makers can be covertly mob-stalked by Jews for life, yielding unlimited political blackmail. As Jewish deception and hiding are further finessed to fabricate domestic terror patsies and the events to go with them, more persons seek Israel for the best counter-terrorism training. This completes the cycle where Jews are always in the lead for what they introduced into the world by their Irgun and Lehi, domestic terrorism for political influence. With so many Jews involved with methods of deep psychological torment directed at me for so many years, it is impossible that these methods are not culturally Jewish, known by all Jews above a certain age. Once targeted by them, Jews stage their stalking, mimicking, and surveillance patterning, and pulverize you with so much of it you sound utterly insane, as they are to have thought it up, yet alone do it. It's Not a Jew counterintelligence stalking is indemnified through the infusion of anti-Semitism into the global lexicon, ensuring Jews are never collectively held accountable for anything while they appear as victims on any audio, video, or photo their stalking victim makes. Jewish stalkers were so intent on always appearing to be an innocent victim in anything I recorded, they gave themselves away as my core predators, despite so many government agencies serving as their camouflage.
So May 4th, 2016 at 12:07 p.m., 12:08 p.m. And this is a Jewish counterintelligence stalker waiting at the front of 345 lorries trying to get a video taken of him. He's sort of bad at looking inconspicuous, but generally the Jews, the world Jewry and the, Zionist organizations have about, 100,000 of these to just activate and stalk you around like this. Even though it looks like I'm stalking him, but he was in the lead and got my location by biometric surveillance through Israel, so. Yeah. Not shopping, no direction, just wandering around, yeah. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, I know, you don't want videos, right? Yeah. I'm documenting illegal RCMP surveillance and counterintelligence stalking. Okay? Do you have any ID? No, I'm not giving you ID, because you know why? The fact of you showing up right here now, when I was videotaping that guy over there, wherever he went, is not a coincidence. Guard 10. No, I need your guard number 10764. Don't hide your guard number from me. You've been busted. 10764 873.
Just give me a second.
Okay, this guy was setting cues in my lead at the Scotiabank ATM. Yeah, he's talking into his mobile, but he's receiving mobile direction. The RCMP and Mossad are very good at saying one thing while doing another. So I'm at nearly at BMV. So he's my height. So that's so they can substitute me and him in and out of the GPS queuing system. 2289, yeah. And the biometrics in there. Knows he's busted. Waiting for directions. No, you're busted. Yeah. What's waiting up the hill for you is not your Israeli swap. Time and date. May 20th, 2016, 6:18 p.m. and 10 seconds by my watch. Eastern Standard Time. Standard leading tail scenario where it looks like I'm stalking him, but he's stalking me with that. Yep, trying to get an escape. Yeah, interference. Yep, they're trying to protect him. Is it RCMP? CSIS? CSIS. Yep. Now, here's what I'm stalking. The biometric outfit in there is stalking me. And then behind. Well, they want to misdirect me. Not going to happen. Cesis is saying, "Oh no, Jew hater, we have to protect him, not stalk him and keep him silent about Jews organizing in the millions to kill people and steal their land for decades with intent." K-word comes to mind. I'll save it for later. Now, why would someone go from a Scotiabank ATM to all these back alleys unless they're trying to get a road out? No, there's nothing for you there. Nothing. You're busted. May 20th, 2016, 7:10 p.m. and 28 seconds by my watch. Just wanted to confirm there is absolutely nothing here for that leading tale Nation of Israel stalker. Right in this door. And him taking over my campaign. This is how closely they follow you. All these Jews. So here's how it works. Off he goes, he's busted. I'm at Danforth and Carla. (1:12 p.m. and 53 seconds by my watch on May 4th, 2016 Eastern Standard Time. Remote influenced into rereading at 548 Danforth with this. Hi again. I had a very, I should say, compelling interest to look at these cards for a moment, so I just wanted to document them in case I missed anything. I knew I was being tailed very closely, and I was being misled to delay me. The cue was done by a Cesis spook, a blonde woman, standing here with a purse. The purse contains the biometric tracking. She got made. She crossed Carla Avenue. A Jew on a mobile took over. She got directed, notified by, like this one. Got notified by mobile phone that the Cesis spook had been made. She took over. They busted and broke up the tail. The Jewish woman walked here. I was following her, so she knew she was busted. And this is why Mossad and Shin Bet and all the Jewish mafia that observe these skits for loads of money set up little safe houses and like alleyways where suddenly a Jewish woman on a mobile has a compelling interest to go by all this garbage and walk into this door. And out she goes through the front of the pizza shop. Because this is all Jews do, all day long. To steal your life away from you. He popped out of here. As you saw. He was probably waiting here. Because that's locked. So the only way he can pop out of here, because he popped out of this corner, is by observing her coming around the corner and entering here. Because she's blown, she goes in. The Jewish spook. Well, it could be any of them. Any Jew, because they all know how this works. He activates and tries to take over the tail when she heads off. And that's how Cesis, the Jewish Zionized Cesis, founded by Robert Kaplan, a B'nai B'rither, a Nazi hunter, turned Canada into a Stasi Zersetzung state. And gaslighting is so obvious. Danforth and Carla. Laughing and laughing and laughing. You've got an Israeli cartel. Right there. Have a good day, laughing Israelis. (1:16 p.m., 34 seconds by my watch, May 4th, 2016, Eastern Standard Time. Carlaw and Danforth Avenue. It's May 24th, 2015, at 9:38 p.m. and 43 seconds by my watch. I'm on Queen Street West, just across from York Street. This is typical RCMP street theater stuff where they have a lone Jew on the middle of the road looking all alone and vulnerable, and I take a video and I upload it to my cloud service, and they say, well, they lie that it's self-incriminating evidence of me being a stalker and harasser of Jews, because that is what the Jews want, to get rid of people who criticize their beloved Israel, a collective of millions of Jews conspiring for decades to kill people and steal their land with intent. So, when I'm walking alone, they'll plop one of these in front of me. Total bait, leading tail, sat surveillance. And all it does is look like me stalking a lone Jew. And, this is why they do it, because to actually document it for what it is makes you sound insane. And there's an immense, huge budget of having, skits happen where the person just mentioning what's occurring to them will make them sound insane. And they spend a load of money on it, loads of money. So there's a City Hall there. Lots of witnesses around. And witness fabricated testimony is what they want, because they have no evidence of harassment. It's actually the stalking Jews who are harassing you, trying to fabricate evidence through self-incriminating evidence and such. So it is 9:40 p.m. and 29 seconds by my watch on May 24th, 2015. I'm at Queen West. Right on time.
But you've done it, so that's a podcast. As long as it's fine, then okay. So make sure you help us. Okay,
So this is what I deal with the criminal stalking campaign. Let's see, if I take a photo of a ethnically profiled person, it discredits me with self-incriminating evidence at the Landlord and Tenant Board. The most sickening and perverse of these culturally Jewish tactics was the use of apartment surveillance to psychologically torment me as a biometrically monitored Jewish slave, with the RCMP and CSIS acting as the "it's not a Jew" intermediary. Via biometric EEG targeting, I would be remote influenced to scratch my face or hair non-stop, and soon a Jew would follow me onto the subway and mimic the scratching in front of me so that I knew I was their slave and I had zero privacy. This was the photo I took of him, the second time he attempted it. Going back to 2002, if I went out for coffee, an informant would be waiting there to say hello and have a chat about his years of living on a kibbutz. Then his American Jewish informant friend would begin to show just as regularly. Then more and more would gather, obviously on police wires, to entice and provoke discussion about Zionism and Jews, showing up magically in my path day after day like clockwork. Circa 2005, I would leave for the day from my contractor KPMG Canada with police informant Marion Knoll, when a Jewish teen with a backpack covered with Israeli buttons and perhaps biometric monitoring inside would appear in front of us to see how I would react. I would go for a walk down Bloor Street West, and a van filled with Orthodox Jews would screech to a stop, unload in my path, and demand an answer to, "Excuse me, are you Jewish?" One of these skits happened with another RCMP informant from KPMG, Jennifer Poulos, who did nothing but bring up Jews before it happened. In RCMP and CSIS Bizarro world, it was okay for everybody around me to talk Jews, except me. Moving on to 2012, I thought this was thermal GPS surveillance technology which could emulate my field of view, and after vocalizing this alone in my apartment, a Jewish informant from my life drawing class, named Jordan Ackerman, would sit next to me and quickly wave his hands in front of my face to try for a reaction, or turn a discussion to see if I would talk badly about the police. In RCMP and CSIS Bizarro world, it was okay for everyone to talk badly about the police, except me. Despite the lavish and persistent efforts of CSIS and the RCMP to transform me into a neo-Nazi and white supremacist, having Op Catalyst taken offline to protect the cultural targeting, mob stalking, and takedown skills of Canadian Jewry, this video is merely one of 30 prior video uploads which did not focus on the historically connected religious cults of Judaism, Christianity, or Islam. The non-Jewish public needs to know what every Jew knows. Whether using surveillance technology or not, Jews can infiltrate your life and stalk you to ruin, using their cultural belief system for a guide as to who they target to disadvantage, reinforcing the status of non-Jews as the unchosen people.
You like calling me Hitler, right?
Who the fuck is
It's
that?
it's the mustache.
The Hitler mustache is like that.
Hey.
That's a Charlie Chaplin
Yeah,
mustache.
right.
It's a Laurel and Hardy mustache.
Hey,
It's a Hitler mustache.
Juice. How come you hate juice?
I don't. What's juice? Like what flavor?
Great.
Wow.
I don't even
juice.
drink it.
We're joking.
But yeah, the Hitler mustache is like that. I looked it up just
He's
for you.
recording it, eh?
I looked it up just for you.
You're a fucking Jew hater.
Why is that? How can I hate every Jew in the world? Is that even possible?
Yeah, it is.
How? I don't even know them.
You know what? You want me to
If you
explain?
don't know every Jew in the world, how could you hate every Jew in the world?
Hey, how come you're such a fucking
So
like,
you just changed the subject because you're like going like
implicating
this.
something that I never fucking
This
said,
is
and you're recording it? Hey, this guy's a fucking Jew hater. He has a Jew mustache. Jew hater mustache.
You still didn't answer my question.
Go. Hey, this faggot was just trying to record me.
The light. I have a lighter.
Now you're calling me faggot. Faggot, Jew hater,
I
Hitler.
wasn't calling you a faggot. I
He's
was
trying
calling you a Jew
very,
hater.
very hard to get me upset. Have a nice day. See you. What would that make me if I was or wasn't? I would just define people on their religion.
What?
Explain.
What?
You approach people and treat them as a Jew or not a Jew?
No,
At face value. You just did it.
I just have something for someone. If you're Jewish, I would have something for you.
Well, that's again a segregation question. I don't really believe in that kind of thing.
Well,
So if a Jew gets a present and a non-Jew
well, it's
doesn't,
not a present. It's a Jewish holiday. It's a Jewish holiday. Just have what they need. Well, it's not a room for a woman or for
still approaching people and treating them at face value as a Jew or not a Jew.
No, I ask you.
So if I'm, not a Jew and I don't get something, that's still a segregation.
I can still give you something if you're not a Jew, but it's a Jewish holiday today. I'll give you something that's meant for the Jewish custom.
Well then, why not try synagogues or temples or
There are people there.
Jewish, there's the Jewish center at Spadina and Bloor West. There you go. Walking around the streets treating people like one thing or another is just bad. And I'll leave it at that. I got to ask, what happened with the landlord attack you had on February 21st?
I've never spoken to him or seen him. So.
But you never went to the police or the landlord and
I
signed a
went
report
to
or
the
anything?
police. They're like, you can't file a report. You file a report, that's pressing charges. You want to do that? You pushed him back to defense. He can turn around and do the same to you.
Okay, so you're just waiting it out.
You in defending yourself, you assaulted him back. So if you want to start and press
Well, let's say you need a lawyer because that doesn't sound correct.
I know. I think the cause is a stupid fucking cow.
Okay.
This is why I don't like cops. I think cops are fucking assholes.
Is that from having bad experiences with police, or?
Well, there's that. I've actually had an issue at a Molson amphitheater with one of their journalists there.
But that was the security guy, though, not the police, or did the police get involved?
I went to the police station to say, I want to report an assault. And then the guy's like, well, what happened? And then I tell him, he's like, oh, well, I can't help you. Call this number. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, what is the point of you people? You guys are fucking useless.
Good luck on that.
We have to really, talk about their hatred for the United States of America and see what, exactly what kind of a threat people like Damona Stork, what kind of a threat they pose to our nation's security. Do they need to be destroyed, I think is the question. I mean, the amount of hatred in here by the likes of Damona for America is really sad. It's very sad, and I do hope you're recording this, Damona, because you need to be investigated by the NSA and perhaps even detained, because I'm not sure if you're likely a threat, Damona, to America and to Israel. But Damona strikes me as someone that wants to harm U.S. interests. They've never seen how it is to live in Israel. They've never seen a rocket lobbed over from Gaza. They've never seen how those filthy Arabs live in their little huts in Afghanistan and Iraq, where our great servicemen and women have done, 12 tours back to back to back to back to back. The fact that you guys are supporting these terrorists and supporting Arabs and Islam and these extremist factions is remarkably scary to me. And I do believe that Damona Stork is an admitted Islamic extremist. But the fact is that we'd be better off without Arabs and all of Islam. There's no question about it. They can't see the cancer that Arabs are. They've been killing each other, killing other people, and it's got to stop. It's got to stop. These wretched Arabs and these filthy Muslims, they've never been to the Middle East. They've never seen how those animals live, and they literally fuck goats. Most of the Arabs live in huts and tribes, and most of them have declared jihad on the West. So that makes all of us enemies to those filthy Islamic pigs. We have laws in the United States of America because we're a civilized country. The Middle East doesn't have laws because the Middle East is full of savage Arabs like Damona Stork and her ilk, terrorists, Islamic filth. Those animals still live in huts, for fuck's sakes. They're still in tribes. They've contributed nothing to modern existence. They're disgusting.
Despite their self-declared indemnity of anti-Semitism, Jews are collectively to blame for their own organized stalking and targeting methods, and passing my personal details amongst thousands of themselves for at least 10 years of non-stop persecution. However, this would not be possible without the Canadian government's fusion of hate group and domestic terrorist, the RCMP and CSIS, using biometric surveillance to torture and enslave Canadians like myself. Hatred by a person against an identifiable group is the most natural response to organized group hatred against an identifiable person, as mob stalkers and their government enablers are well aware. The RCMP, CSIS, and the Toronto Police Service would like nothing more than to shut down Catalyst on bogus hate speech charges, to continue developing the portable and redundant biometric GPS queuing system designed by them and the nation of Israel around me to illegally exploit and corrupt an unsuspecting North American public. Disclaimer: neither myself, Stephen O'Keefe, nor Operation Catalyst had, nor have, any affiliation nor provide any endorsement to any white supremacist, nationalist, neo-Nazi, terrorist, or religious group, ideology, or internet presence, nor promote hatred against any identifiable group or culture. If you wish to appreciate the nature of white European supremacism, colonialism, and the subjugation of the non-white indigenous as a lower-classed labor force, hating them as to kill them in numbers so disproportionate as not associable with war but with a purge, you can always visit ever-expanding Israel, the most Jewish land in the world. opcatalyst.net. Truth is criminal.